So I used to just record myself because I was already comfortable because I did YouTube stuff. And I used to just act out my entire scripts. Then I play it back, then just write it down like that. So I remember like, oh, this is how I want to say it. So I can put like, oh, he wants you to be this way in the scene. And that's how I kind of start doing my scripts. And I remember the first time I showed somebody a script like that, they was like, what the hell is this?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Film Goals Podcast. Today I'm with the one and only Kriss Lewis. Kriss is a filmmaker. He's a director. Do you do cinematography too, or just directing?
Just writing, directing, and sometimes acting when I'm forced to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, for sure. So thank you for being on the podcast. First
Of course, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I've seen a couple of your projects, and I really like them.
Thank you.
I really like the style. I think the one that you did for the 48, the director's cut.
Yeah.
I thought the writing was like really good, and like
Thank
you know, you had like that production value and everything.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that.
Okay.
But first, I just want to know, like, how did you get into filmmaking? What was the inspiration for it?
Man, for me, I've just always loved film. I've always loved storytelling. I've just always loved that art. I grew up in Atlanta, and where I'm from, we had a theater called the Magic Johnson Theater from Los Angeles Lakers Magic Johnson. And I used to go there as much as possible. Either like sneak in with my friends, just go with my family, and then just have a good time. It was like one of the first, in my eyes, it was one of the first like proper luxury theaters that they put in the hood for us to, you know, kind of stay out of trouble. So that's where I kind of fell in love with like just filmmaking, just going there all the time, like going to the mall with my friends. And after that, we just go straight to the movie theaters and just kind of fell in love with it, just the whole atmosphere of it. And I was just so, when I was younger, I remember like going to theaters and just being just amazed at it. And I remember like, oh, I didn't know that they pre-recorded everything back in the day. I thought it was just like a play, like behind it is cars and stuff like that, and you know. And I was just always amazed at that. I was a very imaginary. I just had a big imagination back in the day as a kid, so it just kind of caught my eye. So, you know, when I got the opportunity to move to LA, or move out of Georgia to, you know, try to pursue this, my first thing was like, let's go to LA. You know, let me go to LA because that's where, you know, that's where we see all the movies are being made. That's how you get famous and stuff. So it was just a big dream of mine to just, you know, be here one day.
So what did you do when you got to LA?
So quick backstory. I knew I wanted to get to LA, but I didn't have any means by. So I didn't have like a status or anything. I was already done playing sports. I was kind of retired doing that. I was just a high school kid, just running around, chilling with my friends, partying, and just not really doing anything. So I started my own YouTube channel. I was big into like YouTube. I had a big following back in the day. So that's how I was like, well, if I start doing YouTube, if I start getting big off of YouTube, then that gives me an opportunity to kind of go straight to LA. And then from LA, I can do this. And then I can switch out from YouTube and, you know, just kind of do the movie things. And that was kind of my main kind of, that was the plan.
Yeah.
So I started building this pretty decent following on YouTube. And then I was like, okay, this is it. You know, this is it. I'm going to LA. I went with a friend of mine, Allie. Shout out to Allie. She was like a model. I was just a kid who just did YouTube. So we were like, we about to hustle LA. We're going to take these Atlanta knowledge that we know from Atlanta, and we're going to hustle everybody in LA, and we're just going to become big and famous. And as soon as we got there, we got our, you know, our butts kicked, and we just had a rude awakening. We were literally living off McDonald's apple pies, and it was just hard. It was tough. I remember we had a conversation where she was like, we got to go back, Kriss. We got to go back to Atlanta. We messed up. We didn't plan this right. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. And I was like, I can't go back. I already told my ex to go F herself. I already told my family members, I'm about to be big. I'm about to be famous. So I was like, I can't go back.
Yeah.
So like I said, I had this pretty decent following. And I remember I did a video and we was explaining our situations, and one of my fans or whatever, subscribers, whatever you want to call them, it's weird saying fans because I don't feel like I'm like famous enough to say that, but I guess one of my subscribers or people who watch me is like, hey, I live in Las Vegas, you should come to Las Vegas, you can come stay with me, we got enough room and blah blah blah. I was like, bet. And I took the first opportunity I could. I went to Las Vegas. Shout out to Chelsea and her family. They were very lovely enough to kind of let me in for like a month. I was working at Target when I was in LA, and I was doing like street stuff. We were like dancing for money and doing fake magic tricks, just all weird stuff just to make just money.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was still working at Target, so Target transferred me to Las Vegas. So once I had enough money, when I was living with Chelsea, I was there for like maybe a month or two. Got enough money saved up, and then got my own place, and I've just been here.
So let me ask you why. I don't want to age you, but like, how long ago was this? Because my question is like, why was this before Atlanta got big in the film industry?
This probably I've been here going on 12 years now.
Okay.
It's probably like
so Atlanta wasn't as big when
Atlanta wasn't as big as
because the funny thing is I know people that were here in Vegas and they moved to Atlanta.
Yeah, so Atlanta wasn't that big. Like
even though LA's like right there, it was like LA's too expensive. So
the biggest
Atlanta was like the next thing.
Yeah, because you got to remember, like 10, 12 years ago, like all the Marvel stuff now is getting shot there and all. Like none of that was really happening, you know. None of that. Like you had a few things. Like the biggest thing we had going on, to be honest, was like the Tyler Perry stuff. And I was like, you know, I grew up with Tyler Perry and all that, but I was like, I'm not trying to be a Tyler Perry type of person. I want to expand my thing. And he was still building his studio. I don't even think his studio was finished. Like his whole museum studio that he built, it was still being built. So like it was a thing just that was up in the air. It's like we hear these rumblings that Atlanta's going to be the next big thing, but you know, I was young. I was like, hey, I'm trying to get famous now before I get old. I need to go to LA because LA has everything.
Yeah.
You know, the West Coast has everything, and I never been anywhere outside of Atlanta. You know, I was just a sheltered poor kid who didn't go anywhere, but you know, just kind of chilling. So I was like, you know, LA, West Coast, that's the place.
Well, hopefully
to go.
now Vegas is the new Atlanta. You know, so you're
that's
already
what.
here.
Yeah, see, I'm here now, and that's what everybody's saying. So I'm like, I'm just gonna stay here because now it's coming to the point where the brand and everything is getting big enough, and we're getting a lot of recognition, which I'm so grateful for, and I'm so appreciative of the people who got me into the position that I'm in. That I was like, I don't want to leave, but people in Atlanta say, hey man, you should come back to Atlanta. We got some stuff popping up here. You got some opportunities that you can do some stuff at Tyler Perry. You got some opportunities that you can do for like the Black Film Festival committee, in Atlanta and stuff like that. It's just a whole bunch of opportunities. And I was like, man, that'd be nice because my entire family lives there, but I made like a decent name or thing out of myself here, and I just want to kind of stick it through, and I want to be one of the, I don't want to say foundations, but I want to be like a pillar or something, and to kind of bring this Las Vegas community up. So I'm just trying to do that right now.
So when you were in LA, did you get any projects done? Did you jump in? Did you act, or what did you do?
And so I did small stuff, man. I was like, oh, the Disney Channel, they need some catering stuff, or they need just people to just go walk clothes to this place and that place, or or this small film needs somebody just to hold a boom. So I just kind of did as much as I could, and I was one of those guys like, hey man, I'm gonna hold your boom, but while I hold your boom, can you just read one of my little small scripts? And no one bid. It's like, no, bro, what are you talking about? This is LA. We get these all the time. You ain't special. And I came in there thinking that the Atlanta poor kid and I'm special, but it's like, no, you're not the only person who was poor in Atlanta that came to LA that's trying to be famous. So it was just one of those rude awakenings. I had to kind of swallow my pride and figure out a different way. So, but if anybody knows me, they know I'm very persistent. So I'll always find a way. And, I thank God that, Vegas was here to kind of pick me up and teach me.
So when did
stuff.
you start actually doing your own films, writing? And I know you were writing because you had them in LA, but
when
did you actually put a project together yourself?
So kind of the first kind of thing I started doing here was I did a few small commercials. I did like a late night, was it New Amsterdam vodka commercial? Something like I don't drink. I never drink a day in my life, but I had an opportunity to do like a little commercial for New Amsterdam vodka, and I did one of those. And
Acting or shooting or?
I was just the guy acting.
Oh, okay.
It was like oh, it's gonna be for like a late night hotel thing or whatever. Like I said, oh, cool. I was like, do I need to drink? Because I know vodka and liquor and all that stuff looks like water. Can you just put water in there? No disrespect to your stuff or anything like that. And they were very accommodating. They let me put the water in there and make it seem like I was like a cool kid and stuff like that. So that was like the first thing I did was do this small like little commercial, and then from that I met this guy named Glenn. From that commercial, and he kind of introduced me to like the 48 film competition, and that was like one of the first things I did when I was here was like a 48-hour film competition with,
when was that?
with Glenn. Man, I don't even know. I don't even know.
So you've been doing them a minute.
I've been doing them for a minute.
Yeah.
And when I started on that, I was just the boom guy. And I was just watching him. Oh, he was, to me, he's like one of my teachers, Glenn, student. He brought me on. He let me just kind of be the boom guy, and then he let me kind of just sit to act. It's we just need somebody who's like big and intimidating to just sit here, and then we're just gonna yell action. You don't have to say anything. You just kind of look mean. I was like, okay, cool. So it was kind of my first time getting in front of the camera, watching behind, and I just kind of studied him.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I don't know what he does. I mean, I know what he does, but I want to do what he does. And so I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to, because I didn't go to school for it. That's another thing. I didn't go to school for none of this. I'm self-taught, and the only way I can learn anything really is not from a teacher telling me stuff. I have to watch somebody do it. So I literally just watched him like a hawk. Everything he needed me to do, I did on 48. If he needed me just for like small projects, I helped him on that, and I just watched him. And I watched how he put scripts together. I watched how he set up cameras. I watched how he directed people. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I already have good ideas. I just got to write them down. I'm not the best writer, but if I say them out loud to myself and then I just write it like that, or, I do that, then that's how I build my writing. Because like I said, I didn't go to school for writing, so I didn't know where a period goes. I was never the smartest kid in school. I barely got by. So I just had to teach myself these things, and it was a hard lesson. It was me staying up late nights. I'm talking about late nights. Just, all right, this. Okay, let me pull up the Forrest Gump script and see if my script kind of looks like that with the periods and the punctuations and the spelling and stuff like that, or whatever. I said, okay, I'm kind of getting there. So I had to figure out a way to do it, and I had to make my own path. And I've always told people, you always have to figure out your own path. But for me, my path was I do better at, because I have everything in my head. I'm good at remembering stuff like that. So why don't I just act it all out? So I used to just record myself because I was already comfortable because I did YouTube stuff. And I used to just act out my entire script. Then I play it back, then just write it down like that. So I remember like, oh, this is how I want to say it. So I can put like, oh, he wants you to be this way in the scene. And that's how I kind of start doing my scripts. And I remember the first time I showed somebody a script like that, they was like, what the hell is this? I was like, it's my script. I was like, how is this a script? It's like, that's how I write my script. And I had to start teaching people who I brought on. It's like, this is how I write my scripts.
And what do you do that's different?
Well, nothing really. It's just, I think it's just structured just a little different. Sometimes it's just full paragraphs, and it has a parenthesis that says, this goes like this in the scene, or this goes like that. And so, oh no, that's how kind of scripts work. Yeah. It's a little bit toned. It's tuned a little bit better, but you have like an old school mentality.
But since you're directing it, you kind of know exactly what you want.
Yeah, and I think that came from just like YouTube stuff. Like, well, I know what I want to say before I roll the cameras and I roll the tapes. I just got to show people my vision, and when I show people my vision and I really explain it to them and I walk them through it, then they see the vision. And then that's always the coolest part. When you show them the script, they don't know what what it is,
Yeah.
and they don't know how this is going to work. But then we start working on it together, and we start acting it out. It's like, this is how I envision it in my head, and then that light bulb hits. Like, oh, this
Are
is
you
pretty
still doing
cool.
it? Are you still recording yourself and acting?
I still do it, man.
Oh yeah.
I still do it.
Fuck,
Yeah,
time consuming.
I still do it. My last the last film we did was BFF for 49.
Yeah.
And that was probably my hardest script because it was a documentary, and I wrote 2 scripts for that thing. I wrote a story for the documentary, and then I had to write the documentary about that story. So I already kind of had the story, the basic story outline, but then I was like, well, a documentary is an interview, and I was writing it by myself. So it took me all night. And she can tell you, my assistant, I was up all night, and I literally went back and forth like an interview. I only have one seat I have one seat in my room where I do all my film stuff and my editing and all my creations. But I had some extra seats because I originally had some writers, and then I sent them all home because I wanted them all to get rest. And so I had 2 seats, and usually I only have one. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can sit one right here, sit one right here, and now it's an interview. So literally, I just played it all out in my underwear, trying to figure it out. I was like, okay, this is how I want her to say it. And then I walked over here, and I sat on this chair. I was like, and this is how I want this person to say it. And then I kind of recorded myself a little bit, and then I was like, perfect. Type it up. Keep going, and it was just a back and forth thing until I finished that entire script. And
Wow, dude, you only have 48 hours.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Or 49, I guess, for
Yeah,
that one.
for
But
that one,
but I still write like that because that's just the way I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have to see it before I can, before I can really like complete it.
Let's back up a little bit and just tell me like how did you come up with 24/7? How did that start? And then like what was your first production?
So 24/7 is the product or the brainchild of the Cirque Show 24/7, and that was my YouTube channel. So the Cirque Show is just my name spelled backwards. It's just Cirque is Kriss spelled backwards. Cirque Show 24/7, and I've always had the mentality ever since I was younger. If you're gonna do something hard, do it 24/7, as hard as possible. Don't stop. Just do it to your fullest potential. Don't take no breaks. And that's how I went into YouTube, and that's how I went into the film industry stuff. But like I said, I was very not sheltered, but I didn't know anything outside of Atlanta stuff, and I didn't know really just the world and stuff. So I was like, I'm going to make this my production company, 24/7 Productions, because it's basically my stuff from YouTube, just just a little bit more proper, a little bit more adult. I'm a little bit older now. I feel a little bit cool, a little bit more confident. And as soon as I put that out there, I got smacked with it. Hey, you can't have 24/7 Productions.
Who said that?
Somebody who owned it 20 years ago. It was a guy who messaged me.
You tried to like do an LLC or what was it?
Yeah, so what ended up happening was it's like, okay, I'm gonna do the 24/7 production stuff, and like I said, I didn't get it official until this year, and I'm gonna explain that a little bit later. But the first time I tried to do 24/7 productions, I did it on just like a small thing that me and my partner Jet did, and somebody messaged me and said, you can't do that. And I thought it was like a spam person, so I just deleted it. I deleted it. This was like years ago. I was like, what are you talking about? I've had 24/7 in my thing for almost 12 years now, because I was I'm not gonna say I was the first person on YouTube, but I was on YouTube when YouTube first started.
What were you doing on YouTube? What was
I was
your
doing
content?
film reviews, just random stuff. I was doing a lot of film reviews, a lot of anime content, just a lot of game stuff, just a whole bunch of stuff. I just want to expand. I just want to hit everybody, and I loved so many different things. So I was like, I'm just going to do everything. And I was young, so I was like, I can do anything. I ain't got no kids. I ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? So I was doing everything. So when I first got that first kind of, hey, you can't do that, it was like maybe, I don't know, 9 years ago maybe. And I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like a spam thing. I was like, somebody trying to play me. So I just threw it away. And then we started getting bigger. The 24/7 production stuff started getting bigger. And then we ended up winning last year. And I was very, very excited to win last year because I just got a new girlfriend at the time. And she knows what I'm talking about. Shout out to Dom. I just got a new girlfriend at the time, and I wanted to impress her so bad. So I was like, I'm going to make sure I win this thing. I'm going to win 49. I knew it from the moment we started. I told you, I said, bro, we're gonna win this. Like I didn't tell him I was trying to impress a girl, but I was like this is my new girlfriend. I want to be cool and stuff like that. You know, I really want to impress this girl. So we end up winning. I say, nice. We won. I'm happy. I'm pumped. She's happy for me. I'm proud. I'm thinking I'm like the awesome boyfriend. I'm a cool boyfriend to her. So like now I need to make this legit because now she's talking about doing her own content stuff, and then she get her LLC, she get her company stuff, and then that inspired me. I was like, oh, maybe I should start. She told me that hey, you probably should get all this stuff legalized because you're getting bigger. People are recognizing your name. Like I said, I didn't go to school for none of that. She was a lawyer for a little bit, so she was putting me on game on stuff.
Yeah, no wonder you're trying to impress.
Yeah, I'm trying to impress her, and she's like, you should do this. You should get all this stuff legalized and stuff. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And she kind of walked me through it a little bit, and she helped me so much. And no matter what kind of issues we have, like I praise her so much for that. And I took the chance one day, and I was like, okay, let me figure out all this stuff. And I woke up early, and I started doing all this paperwork because now that I'm doing this, but right when she told me that, my stuff is getting bigger and bigger, and then I get another message from I guess the same person, but now it's on Instagram. First time it was on Facebook, now it's on Instagram, and he's like, "Hey, I already told you this like 8 years ago. You better not. You can't use 24/7 Productions. We've had this. We got this. I was like, whatever, bro. I'm using this. Like, I was basically like, come at me. I don't care. I'm using this. If you're going to sue me, you're going to have to sue me because I'm using this. This is my brand, and I'm going to die for this brand because that's how I believe in it. And I'm sorry that you came up before me, but I've had this. I didn't know. You know, I'm just a young kid. I don't know anything. So I found a loophole in it. Like, they had it like, this way. They had it spelled 247 like this. They had it like this. I was like, okay. You can have that. But no one had the Roman numerals. So this is what we call the 101 because I made this before all the stuff kind of got, legalized and stuff like that. So
is that guy here in Vegas or just? I
don't even know. I think they're in like Ohio or something. I don't know. But they came at me hard. I was like, okay, that's cool. So I was like, when I was talking to the LLC person and I did like the bundle package, I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to do it right. I don't know anything what I'm doing. I told the guy, and he was very nice. I was like, I don't know any of this stuff, guy. What's the biggest package for you to figure all this stuff for me? I'll pay you to do it. You just tell me what I need to sign and what I need to pay. Say, you pay this much, we can get all this stuff. I was like, cool. Well, I want to try to do 24/7 productions just like this. He's like, okay. He's like, I'm pretty sure that's not going to work, but you can add it onto the list. And then I was like, all right. And then I want to do the Roman numeral version of that. He's like, okay, cool. You might have a better opportunity with that. And then I think I did one more version of it, like a 24, and then spelled out 7, like something, I did
7-Eleven.
Yeah, like I did like another version. So I did 3 versions, and then he got back to me like a few weeks later. Said, congratulations. The Roman numerals got accepted. The LLC, the trademark got accepted. Congratulations. And I wanted to just message that person, say, I got you. But I ended up deleting the guy because I was afraid or whatever. But,
that's crazy, dude.
But yeah.
He just spends all his whole time looking for other companies that have the same name.
Which I get. But but when I looked at their stuff, like, I didn't see anything. And I'm not trying to bash them or anything. That's not what I'm doing. But I just didn't see anything. Like, they had all this stuff that they signed off, but I didn't see were they making films or they just had it just to have it. And I was doing stuff. So I was like, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. And I just kind of outsmarted them on that end. And, I'm very proud that I did that. So now we have it legalized and we got the trademark and stuff. So it's like, cool.
That's dope.
And that's just how it kind of worked out. Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about your film projects. How many have you done? And then just talk a little bit about the newest ones. BF. I know you talked about a BFF a little bit, and then the director's cut.
I'm probably going on my 10th one. There's one that is like the little evil stepchild that we don't really talk about. So a few years ago, I wrote this, I think, a pretty amazing script of a Star Wars thing. But like I said, I was very young. I was very ambitious. And I was like, I'm going to do a Star Wars film. not knowing that lightsabers cost money.
Oh.
Special effects cost money. Trying to make people in the desert look like they're in space cost money, and it was just heart shattering because I spent so much money, and I started that film when I was just getting kids, when I just had like my first son, so I felt like a terrible father because I was spending money on this thing, and it wasn't coming out the way I wanted to. We had different cuts. We had to get rid of like actors because they were being crazy to other people. It was a hot mess, and it was just one of those things where I just kind of felt defeated. I just kind of felt defeated, and I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Was it a short or was it a feature?
I was trying to make it into a feature.
Oh, sure.
I still have that script, and hopefully one day.
How far did you get into it?
Man,
to production or no?
Yeah, we got to production. We were shooting and everything, and we have there's like a small cut of it that maybe one day, because Glenn, who was like my mentor, he helped me shoot it, and he worked so hard on it, and I feel so bad because I spent so much of his time and stuff, and we just couldn't. It wasn't coming out to my liking. I know it wasn't coming out to his liking, but he worked so hard on it, but it just It just didn't. It didn't materialize like we wanted. So hopefully one day, if we get bigger, we can always kind of double back on that. But I still have that script.
And where do you put your projects? Do they go on your 24/7 YouTube? Or
yeah, everything now goes on the production page on Instagram. I still throw them on YouTube. I don't, like I said, I'm a retired YouTube person, so I don't even go on YouTube like that anymore. And I just kind of re-uploaded all my YouTube stuff again because my account got deleted or something. I don't know. It got a weird thing. It was some hacker that got into it. It might have been the 24/7 person that said they would come after me. They got into my YouTube stuff. They deleted a whole bunch of people. So we did the Star Wars stuff, and I was shut down. I was hurt. I was butt hurt. I was crying. It was just earth shattering to me. It was heartbreaking. And then one day I was like, man, I gotta get back in it. And then I told Jet, who's like my partner, I was like, hey man, you think we can do this 48 thing together and see how it works? And then he was like, yeah. And he was just one of those guys who was, which I love about him. He was one of the only people that never tells me no.
How'd you guys connect?
He was like one of the first people I met here. He worked at Target with me.
Oh, okay.
So we just kind of hit it off. He was like in the same stuff as I was. We both love The Rock. We both love wrestling. We both love anime. We both like working out, boxing and martial arts, Japanese stuff. And we just kind of hit it off. And he was just into the same stuff that I was into. And like I said, I had the crazy ideas, and he was the person to never tell me no. And I needed somebody like that. You know what I mean? I needed somebody to back me up because I didn't really have anybody here. My entire family was in Atlanta, so I didn't have nobody to back me up and just go with my ideas. And he was the only person that really went with them. So we kind of did 48 together, and we kind of started going from there. And slowly and surely, we just started getting better and better and better.
So talk about the movie that won you the first 49, because I don't think I've seen that one yet. What was that one about?
So right here was the one that, like I said, I wanted to try to impress a girl. It was just this idea I had. So for 49, every year when I do either 48, 49, or whatever competition, I always try to make it harder for myself. So the year prior we did 48, we did Dollhouse. And Dollhouse, I was like, I want the smallest team in the world. I want us to have the smallest team. So we only had 3 people on that team. And we did amazing. Abby Ray, she won Best Actress on that for my film and stuff like that. So shout out to Abby Ray. So that the next year we was like, 49's here. I want to go crazy. This time we did a small team. Now I want to get the biggest team. And I told people during the kickoffs, I was like, yo, if you don't got a team, if don't nobody like you, if people say you can't act, come to my team. And then I'll figure out something for you. Because I just wanted to make it harder. Because for me, the harder it is, the more I get into it and the more I just want to push myself. And like I said, I was trying to impress a girl. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get the biggest team. I already had the okay go. I worked at a gym now. I had the okay go to use the gym if I needed it. I was like, cool. And then we picked what we picked, which was like a procedural. I was like, I don't really know what a procedural. I know what a procedural is, but it was like, can you give me some ideas? He's like, yeah, kind of like House or Grey's. I was like, perfect.
Oh God!
As soon as he told me that, just an idea popped in my head. I was like, well, I have this little girl. I was the only person I think on that year who had like a kid. I actually had two kids because I had a brother and a sister. So I was like, okay, I have two kids and I have like a whole bunch of other people, and I have this big ass gym. What can I do with a procedural? I can make that gym into a hospital. And then I was like, okay, I can make it into a hospital. I can make it into about a sick guy and a sick girl and them dying at a hospital, but them becoming friends in the process of them like dying and stuff like that. And that was kind of the idea of it. And I was like, okay, I already have the girl. I got the idea in my head. Jet's cool with it. The team's cool with it. I just got to write it down. So now I just need a leading man. I was like, okay, who am I going to? I found somebody, and then they were cool with it. I'm not going to say the person's name, but you know who you are. Which camera is it?
That one's yours.
You know who you are. So we were all ready to go. Had the leading lady who's a little girl. Had the leading man. We're ready to shoot the next day. Leading man doesn't show up.
Damn. He knows who he is.
I know you are. Leading man doesn't show up.
Yeah.
So I'm freaking out. No one's on set yet, but I'm freaking out. Leading man doesn't show up. No call, no nothing. I said, okay. What am I going to do? Well, now I'm the only person on this team with a bald head who can play a sick character. I got to be in it. So I had to kind of, force myself to do it, which I wasn't mad about. It was more like, well, I'm not really an actor. I did a few acting things here and there, but mostly I was always I'm the big black dude who needs to scare somebody and throw somebody because I know martial arts and stuff. So, I was cool with that. Yeah. I didn't have to say too many words. I can do a few punches. I know how to kick and stuff. I know how to pick somebody up and slam them. But now I got to act. But luckily, I wrote the script. I know this script from the back of my head. I know what feelings are supposed to be.
You already had acted it out.
Yeah, I've already played the character, and I played the little girl, so I know everything. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do it. And it was like one of the hardest things. And this film is the reason why I have an assistant now. Because that film I didn't have an assistant, and I needed an assistant because I was directing, I was acting, I was rewriting stuff. I was trying to cater to the little girl and stuff like that. So I was just doing everything, and Jet was there holding me up as much as he could, and it was just so hard for me. But we got it done. We ended up winning. Everybody loved it, and I was so appreciative of that film and what that film brought for me. And it just kind of, changed my life. Me and Jet's life with that film. And it was one of those things where I was like, man, we made it. We set out and we told everybody we were going to win, and we did. Yeah. So it's like, whew,
that's dope, bro.
It's crazy, and it was just one of those things where I was like, I was just so appreciative. And one of the things that people don't know is like, that script was easy, but then it was hard because, like I said, you're dealing with a kid. Mm-hmm. And then, it was a long shoot. They get restless and tired, and she was like a trooper. She was a trooper. And it was the last scene. I was like, this scene right here, we need to work. And I didn't like it. I was like, man, I don't like this scene. Like, this is a scene this is the scene that's going to make us win. For whatever I have her say is going to make us win. So I need, for what she's about to say, I need it to really mean something. And what I originally wrote, it didn't really hit the way I wanted to hit. So I rewrote it while we were kind of resetting up, and me and her were still sitting at the table. And I was like, we got to get this now, because now we're running low on time. We still got to edit and stuff like that. So I told her, I was like, hey, I'm going to write this thing real quick, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to read my lines. I'm going to say my lines to the camera, and then I'm going to pause and then say your lines, and then you're just going to repeat everything back to me, and then we're just going to mute me saying it to you. And a lot of people don't know that. So if you rewatch that, it's just me saying my lines, pausing, then saying her lines, saying like, hey, like a little kid, and then having her repeat it back to me, and then we just mute that. And that was the only way because she couldn't memorize them in this quick amount of time that we needed it to. So, and it just kind of worked, and she was a trooper, and it was just this beautiful storm that just came together.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Did you I know you wrote by yourself. Like, did you try to find like writers to collab with, or was that something that you wanted to take on?
Yeah. So for me, Director's Cut was the first film that we had just different writers. So I wasn't the main writer. I came up with the original story. I helped write it, but I wasn't the main writer. We had four or five other people writing, and it was one of those things where it's like I was nervous because, like I said, I always want to challenge myself. I always want to do something different, and I was like, okay, we're gonna have different writers. I have the story in my head. I told everybody the story, and we had fantastic writers, and we all just kind of came up with it together. And I was just very nervous because usually it was just me and Jet. Like, I'll have the story.
Was that on purpose though, or did you try to find other people to write, or was that because
starting out?
Like your previous film right here, right?
Yeah. So
did you try to collab with a writer, or was that
no? It was just one of those things where it was just always just me and Jet. We didn't ever have. It was just always me and him. And
so in this one, you wanted to reach out.
Yeah, we just wanted to kind of do something a little bit different, and we knew we were trying to expand, and we knew that okay, this is getting bigger. We're getting legit, so we got to start having writers. We got to just start making ourselves look like we're legit because we're putting on this front to everybody on Instagram like we're the hot shit. I'm sorry if I can cuss.
Yeah, you can cuss, bro.
Like, we're the hot shit. So, and if we're gonna be the hot shit, we got to start acting like the hot shit. So we got to start having writers and stuff like that. So, it was just one of those things where I was so nervous because, like I said, it was always just me and Jet. I would come up with the story, I would start writing it, and then he'll just kind of say, that's cool, but take this part out and then like do that. He'll just kind of reel me in just a little bit, and then we can just keep going like that. But this time it was like, okay, I have the story. Director's Cut is about a serial killer who's a director. It's a cool idea. I've never seen that before. Let's start brainstorming. And then we had like 4 or 5 people, and I started getting nervous. Like, everybody's got really good ideas, but it's so overwhelming. It's like, can we fit this all in? And then we all just worked really well together. And I was so proud of the team because we all built like this very cool camaraderie. And, and it was just a fantastic thing. And it came out the way it came out because of them. Like I said, I had a little bit to do with the script. I came up with the idea. I did a few like rewrites here and there, but they all kind of helped out, and they really pull their own for that. And then when we get into BFF, I was like, man, I had such a great time with Director's Cut and everybody on Director's Cut. Let's just bring back this writing team and just let's kind of do it again. You know what I mean? And I originally came up with the story. We had the idea and stuff, and BFF was just one of those things where it was like, okay, everybody's in the room. That we all was in my room. We were all coming up with ideas. You were there, right? Yeah, she was there. Everybody was coming up with really good ideas, but for some reason, it was not clicking in my head. BFF. It was not like the idea that I had envisioned was in my head, but what everybody else was saying was just bigger and grander. It was all great, but it was just bigger and grander. I was like, it was more for a feature film. And I was like, guys, we got to cut all this down. And everybody has really good ideas, and I love everybody, but this is not what what I envision as a director. And it was heartbreaking because I loved everybody's idea, and I started getting frustrated, not with them, but just with myself, because I was like, I don't know how we're going to pull this off. People are expecting 24/7 productions to bring it. You know what I mean? We're the defending champs. And I was going through like a personal thing. I was going through a personal thing. I was going through a lot of backstage issues personally, and that started maybe a week before we start doing Director's Cut. Okay. And I had to tough it all out because I had an entire team that was depending on me. And then we did director's cut, and director's cut did what it did, and I was so happy for it. But I was still like broken up and sad inside. And then we go into BFF, and I'm still like, that was like back to back. 48 and 49 was back to back, so I had no time.
Pretty much the same month.
Yeah, I had no time to just kind of relax and try to just gather my thoughts because I was sad. Like when people were leaving, when she left, I was crying, and I was just a hot mess. But I was trying to suck it up. So when we got into the writing room for BFF, just these emotions from me just start coming out, and I was getting frustrated with just myself because I was going through stuff that I wasn't telling my team about, and I felt bad because I wasn't telling them. But I was like, I'm the team leader. People are depending on me to get my shit together. You know what I mean? People are depending on me to bring them to the promised land. So I was just like, I got to shut up and just kind of tough it out. And looking back at it, that was the wrong idea. I should have, she's like one of my best friends. She's like a sister to me. I should have told her. I should have told other people. I should have told Jet. I didn't. I just kind of kept it to myself. And then I sent everybody home. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just write this thing myself. And that's how that script came out. Like how I talked about, started talking to myself, started writing in my underwear, And then I was okay with the script. And I was like, okay, I just got to get through this, man. I just got to, I finished the script. I'm up all night. I was like, I did 50 hours? Straight 50 hours.
You didn't sleep?
I didn't sleep at all. I did like a 5-minute power nap, and that wasn't even that was just me just sitting on the couch while we were waiting for the next scene. Yeah. But I stayed up that entire time, and she could tell you when we got done, I was knocked out. Yeah. She called me in the bed with my ass cheeks out and everything, just knocked out. I was gone. Yeah, because it just took so much out of me. Yeah, it took so much out of me, and like I said, I was sad. I was like depressed, and I was like, man, I still gotta keep it together because now we still got these awards and we got premiere, and it's a 2-day festival now. So now I got to go to both because they're premiering that they're premiering.
You showed both of them, yeah.
Yeah, they show both of my films, and I was like, I'm almost there, man. Yeah. And then like the day before the premiere, I think I sent everybody a message to say, hey man, I just want everybody to know I love everybody. Y'all all touched me. That sounds weird. Sorry. Y'all all touched my heart, and y'all all came into my life at the perfect time because I just needed people around me to just kind of keep me going because I was breaking down. I was breaking down. And I was like, I just appreciate everybody, and I hope we do good, and I hope everybody loves our film, and all this stuff.
You got a hard genre too, like documentary. Because I watched it, it was it's hard to do, but I like kind of like your twist that you did on it. Cause
Thank
it's
you.
Like, it's a documentary, but it's also
Thank
it's a narrative.
Thank
you. Yeah. No. Yeah.
I appreciate that you like our film.
No, for sure. And it kind of, when I was watching it, reminded me of this like documentary that I saw on Netflix. It was a whole different content or the whole different story. Nice. But it was kind of like the same kind of structure. Yeah. Where I was like, oh shit! So it was definitely interesting.
And it was one of those things where like I think I've only watched one documentary in my life, and I think it was like a Power Rangers documentary or something like that. Because I'm a big Power Rangers guy, so I didn't know anything about documentaries. Yeah. So like,
there's a lot of good ones, bro. You got to catch up.
Yeah, I know. So like prior to that, I watched maybe. When I sent everybody home, I kind of skimmed through like a few documentaries. Like I think a Jeffrey Dahmer documentary. I think I did one. There was a documentary about Barney that I saw. Just these weird documentaries that I was like, okay, I just need to get a structure of what I need to do. And then
talk a little bit about what it's about though, because it's a documentary about someone that dies, and then kind of everyone's getting interviewed about it.
Yeah. So BFF is a film about another film that we're going to be shooting, which will be my next film. Oh, okay. So because I wrote 2 scripts for that. I wrote a full script, and then that script for the documentary, and all that. So we're gonna do the full script in February. But that script is about a group of friends reliving a traumatic event. So there was what's it called? A serial killer or whatever you want to call it, who captures a bunch of friends, and he pits them against each other. He makes them choose which friend's gonna die, and one person dies, and then the surviving members are about are talking about what happened in the documentary. So that's what the story is about. And I just thought that was a really cool idea to kind of do. So that's just what it was.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Speaking about February, like I know you're taking a break right now.
Yeah.
What's next for you? What's your plans after that?
All right, so now, I mean, like I said, I had a few prior engagements, which was one of these and a few other things that I had to get done. And I was like, I'm just going to take a break from social media. I'm just going to take a break from myself. I'm trying to go to rehab for a little bit, just a little therapy rehab, just for depression and just anxiety and stuff like that. So I just need to take time to myself, and I want to get some writing done, and I think I can do that while I'm just kind of in my own thoughts, by myself, away from people. So as soon as that's done, and I'm hoping to just kind of disappear for like maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I got kids now, so I can't be away too long. So. I'm trying to come back full force, hopefully a better person, hopefully a little bit happier, hopefully, just a little bit more wiser and a little bit more stronger. And then the goal is to go straight into Friends for Life, like the full version movie adaptation of that. And then from Friends for Life, I have another script that I'm working on, Operation Ghost. And that's about a task force team who's, picked to, like save the world. So like a SWAT team, and they all have different unique, specialties. And, it's a ninja in there. It's a guy who loves bombs and explosives, and just a group of characters that I've been doing. So that's going on. And then I'm working on a few monologues for some of my friends so they can, put out into the atmosphere and into the world so they can kind of get seen a little bit more. So I'm just kind of, I'm trying to lay low a little bit, but I'm coming back full force. I'm going to start annoying people. Y'all going to start seeing this black and white stuff again. I'm sorry. I know y'all hate it.
What's the black and white stuff?
Just, we market ourselves like we're big into wrestling. So we market ourselves like NWO black and white. So all our pictures are black and white.
Gotcha.
And, and I know it was annoying. I'm sorry, guys. I know.
Well, I didn't see it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
No, that's dope, man. I can't wait to see all the stuff you have.
Thank you.
Everything's on your YouTube and Instagram, so I'll post that.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
I appreciate it, brother.
For sure, bro.
Thank you.
All right, guys. That's Kriss. I'm gonna put all his information on the description, and see you guys next time.
Take care, guys. Bye.